A quiz is an activity on Moodle. At the CPS, quizzes are widely used for weekly student work and assessments. Like any other activity on Moodle, they come with a lot of settings. And this video will show how to set up a quiz activity. Turn Editing on at the top right corner. Scroll down to the section where you want the quiz. At the bottom of the section, click on Add an activity. From the panel or the list, choose Quiz. Once the settings page opens, give the quiz a name. In the Timing field, one can set the opening and closing dates with time. A time limit can also be set here as in an exam condition. Next, when the time expires, what happens to unfinished quizzes depends upon the settings here. They can be set to 1. Automatically submitted, 2. A grace period is given, 3. The submission may not be counted at all if not submitted within time. In the grade settings, the grade category or the component in which the grade will appear can be set. Setting up a grade to pass will indicate pass or no pass by red or green color highlights in the grade book for the users to view. In the next setting, how many attempts a student is allowed is determined here. In the layout settings, one can decide how many questions will appear in a page. This number can also be decided when adding questions to a quiz. The important setting here is the navigation. Free will allow students to freely navigate between previous and next pages at will. Sequential, on other hand, will not allow the student to do so. The student cannot go back once he goes to the next page. In the question behavior settings, the first is shuffling within questions. This applies only to multiple choice questions where the options are shuffled each time the question is opened. Next, the choice of feedback options influences the question behavior. For example, if adaptive mode is chosen, the student can attempt the question again if he is wrong. This kind of checking and answering can come with or without penalties. The settings here can decide on that. In the deferred feedback setting, the student will not know if his answers are right or wrong until he submits all of his answers in the quiz. The other settings here allow multiple tries with marks set according to the number of tries and levels of certainty in choosing an answer. A student and a teacher can review the quiz attempt according to the options chosen here. First, when is the student allowed to review? Can he do so during the attempt? Or immediately after the attempt? Later while the quiz is still open? Or when the quiz has closed? Checking one of these will decide that. Next, what can be reviewed depends on checking or unchecking the following. Can he review the attempt at all? For example, if it is an exam, a student may or may not review depending on the policy. Next, if the answer is correct or incorrect. Marks or points. Feedback. Specific, general or overall. And the correct answer. In Appearance, if the user's picture is enabled, his picture along with his name can be seen when he is logged in, which may be useful in an exam. The decimal places setting will display the digits after decimal point in the grades. If the Safe Exam Browser is enabled, the different options for configuration for Safe Exam Browser can be set here. The next setting here is to add more security to taking a quiz. A password can be set as an extra requirement for taking a quiz. If webcam identity is enabled, the student will not be able to start the quiz until he confirms he is aware of the policy. In Require Network Address, entering certain Internet addresses will restrict quiz access only to those locations. This feature is useful for invigilated online exam. If the browser security is set to full pop-up screen with JavaScript security, the browser will be locked, preventing students from opening other applications while taking the quiz. The overall feedback is the automatic final feedback that would be given for any range of grades scored by the student. For example, a 60% score can be set to make an appointment to meet your instructor to discuss your grade. In the common module settings, two settings are important. The first one, availability, is mainly to choose from the options, to show the quiz, or, not to show the quiz, on the course page. In the next field, group, and grouping modes, if necessary, are enabled. This will mainly facilitate the grades of the students in a section to remain together, which is very important for administrative purposes in a course with many sections. In Restrict Access, the quiz can be made available based on different scenarios. One option is to restrict student access only after a specific date. The next restriction is unless a prerequisite is met. Here, the student should have got 70% in a previous assignment to take this quiz. Another option is to restrict access to only certain groups or groupings. It is here which group or grouping should have access is specified. In this example here only section 20 of grouping 600 can have access to the quiz. Finally, the quiz can also be restricted to specific users. From the user's profile, any one aspect from the list can be chosen to restrict access. Here the email address of the student is chosen. Once all these main settings are determined, save and return to course.